let's talk about all the great things like potholes, weed control, that kind of stuff.
So you think those are great things, right? Like you
They're-
really like winter, don't you?
No, I don't.
You don't like winter at all?
I'm actually going to start crying the first time we see snow.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
curl up in the fetal position, maybe in a pothole. I don't know.
Well, we had a great conversation about winter control. You know, the challenges that we face when you know, we always talk about climate change and how is that affecting operations, how is that affecting budgets, you know, how is that affecting the city. We hear about climate change, you know, we can argue about what's causing it,
Right.
but at the end of the day, the climate is changing,
Yes.
and we have to adjust our services to those changes in a lot of different ways. So obviously winter control is one of them. You know, we talked about it, we're getting a lot more winter events, different kind of events over the course of the year, but it's affecting a lot of other things. I mean, this summer we had a low water level in our lakes. We had to do water restrictions.
Now,
Anybody
why
on
does that happen? Like, who sends that out?
Kawartha Conservation
Okay.
monitors the level of our lakes along with the Trent Severn, but they do it more for navigational reasons. The Kawartha Conservation does it more for water safety levels. So
Okay.
it's really just, you know, we get a lot of our water systems through our rivers and our lakes. So when the water levels is low, we have to compensate for that. So we had to put out you know, a low water usage to all our residents who are on water systems, and you know, everybody's going, the lakes are full of water, why are we, you know, and it's raining, but the water levels were really, really low. You know, and contrast that to last year in the spring of 2019 when we had massive flooding coming down our system, and we had to you know, we had people who were washed out, roads that were washed out, our dams were at the breaking point, and the water levels were high. So it's back to that climate change. It's, you know, no 2 years are ever the same, and these are some of the challenges we're facing.
And you don't want to be telling people, it's not like you're sitting there going, ha ha ha, I'm going to tell them there's low water. That doesn't happen.
Well, no, I mean, it's not everybody's on a municipal water system.
Right.
So, you know, people use water from lakes, they use water from wells, but usually when the water levels are low, the groundwater levels are low as well. So farmers, you know, struggle to find water to water their crops. Affects our biggest industry is agriculture. Even some wells, you know, we'll start to, over a hot, dry summer, some of our wells for some of our residents in our communities will start to go dry. So, you know, yes, we can put out we can't control all the wells, you know, and water systems in the city, but we can certainly do anybody who's on a municipal water system. We can, you know, we can try to put out those levels, and the folks did, and everybody's usually pretty good. They get it, you know, that can only water your lawn on every other day, or however, what some of the different criteria are. But anything that, you know, that helps reduce that makes a big difference. So
would the climate change affect like the freezing and the thawing of the roads to make potholes and?
You bet it does. Yeah, we used to get 2 or 3 freeze-thaw events over the course of a winter, which is really, you know, going down to -10 at night and then to +10 the next day. So all you gotta do is put a can of Coke on your back porch and it freezes, and then when it starts to thaw, look at what happens, right? So when moisture gets trapped under the surface and it freezes, it expands, and then when it thaws, you know, it pops. And a plow comes along in the winter and, you know, takes that little piece off the top, and all of a sudden you've got a pothole, and water gets into, you know, into that. So it's important that we crown our roads, we get the water off the roads, the ditching and the brushing, but you know, those freeze and thaw events are just creating, again, a bigger challenge for a lot of our winter control, and that's a direct result of a changing climate where we're not getting that cold for 6 months of the year, you know, that cold, dry that we used to get with, you know, snow, and then we clear the snow and everything was consistent. Now we get snow, 2 days later it rains, and I mean, and that's not just for our roads, that affects recreation.
Yes.
You know, people want to snowmobile, they want to go cross-country skiing, or skating rinks.
Yes.
We used to have community skating rinks where, you know, neighborhoods would put out a skating rink, and, you know, the neighbors would come out and water it, and the kids would play hockey, and families would be out skating. A lot of them aren't doing it anymore because they put all that work into it, and then it would rain, you know, or we get a warm spell for 2 or 3 days and it would all melt and they'd have to start over. And it's hard. It's hard to control that kind of thing. So, you know, we've put a new skating little oval in at Logie Park with some underground infrastructure to help keep it cold. So we can extend that season a little bit if we get a bit of a mild spell, but you know, those things aren't cheap to do, right? So it's a challenge not just for our roads, but for some of the recreation and fun things that we like to do. Snowmobiling is a big one, right? And we have an awesome trail network. I mean, you can go across Canada from here on the trails. And I get a lot of people that now have to trailer their snowmobiles. You know, they tell me they got a trailer up north sometimes to be able to get some good consistent snow, you know, on a holiday to be able to go.
Right.
Or they go crazy when it snows. They get a good snowfall because they don't know how long it's going to last. You know, so everybody has to make those adjustments. But you know, it's not just about maintaining our roads. It's about some of the fun people like to have in the winter too. For people like you that love winter so much.
I love it. It's
I
so
know.
good.